Jasmine Crockett, future Senator Crockett from Texas, was on CNN after her big campaign announcement. She has entered, as you already know, the Texas Democratic Senate primary, hoping to take on John Cornyn or possibly Ken Paxton. There is a Republican primary in this race, but she goes up against James Talarico, also a very splashy candidate that a lot of, let's just say, Democratic consultants think might be their answer to Trump 2.0. He talks about scripture. He alludes to populism. I think the real story of this is that you have roughly two corporate-aligned Democrats, one that is throwing the norms out the window, the rhetorical norms out the window, just like Donald Trump has, but we'll see how Jasmine Crockett can pull it off. Nobody can really pull it off. And then you have Talarico, who's running a Biden-esque campaign about how important it is to, maintain the norms of civility and whatever. In Biden's case, that was obviously BS. But it's a lane to run in, and that's the lane Talarico is running in. So Jasmine Crockett goes on CNN, talks to Jake Tapper. Here's what happens. Let's watch this.
In a December 2024 Vanity Fair profile, you talked about, quote, and I'm going to read a lot of the quote just to put it in the context, quote, all the complexities
within the
Latino community. The immigration thing has always been something that has perplexed me about this community. It's basically like, I fought to get here, but I left y'all where I left y'all, and I want no more y'all to come here. If I wanted to be with y'all, I would stay with y'all, but I don't want y'all coming to my new home. It almost reminds me of what people would talk about when they would talk about kind of like slave mentality and the hate that some slaves would have for themselves. It's almost like a slave mentality that they have. Now, about the time that was published last year, around 1 million Latino voters in Texas were voting for Trump. Do they all have slave mentality?
No, and that's not what that said at all, to be clear. It did not say that every Latino has that type of mentality.
No, but the ones that vote for people who believe in strong or Trump's immigration policies.
So I don't believe that the people that voted for Trump believe in what they're actually getting.
She doesn't believe that the people who voted for Trump believe in what they're actually getting. So what she's saying is that you Latinos are too dumb to know that Trump is playing you. You guys are just all idiots. Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman, she's got this under control. She's telling you what you're actually getting, but and you can't actually even parse the language there because it doesn't make sense. She's saying they don't believe in what they believe they're actually getting. Borderline indecipherable, but let's give it a go here and assume what she means is that they're getting something different from what they say they believe in, what they believe in. Donald Trump is delivering something different. That is not a winning message in the state of Texas, where a whole lot of Hispanics in the Rio Grande Valley, for instance, hated being called Latinx by establishment Democrats, found it very paternalistic, hated being told that they weren't supposed to like Trump because they had to vote Democrat, hated being told, for example, that they must love illegal immigration because they're Hispanic. This is just one great example. There are many, but one great example of Jasmine Crockett being honestly a disaster. I mean, a story broke today from Notice, which is kind of funny if you haven't seen it yet, covered that Republicans astroturfed Jasmine Crockett into the Senate primary. I confirmed this story today. This is true. They knew that if they started asking pollsters to include Jasmine Crockett when they were questioning people about who should get into the Senate primary, she is a known quantity, right? Like, she has higher name recognition than other people in the state, certainly more than in Talarico. And so when you have those two things together, you toss Crockett into the mix and she's going to get high poll numbers, and that as a narcissist, obviously as a narcissist, Jasmine Crockett is going to be very persuaded by these numbers. Indeed, Crockett, in her announcement speech, said she was persuaded by these numbers. She went on a podcast with Aaron Parnas, and he asked, why she thinks she's the better pick to take on Talarico. This is from yesterday. Why she's the better pick than Talarico to take on Cornyn or Ken Paxton, whoever it may be. This is part of Jasmine Crockett's response. There was a reason that I entered the race, and it wasn't because of James Talarico. It was because of Jasmine Crockett. I mean, you can't argue with it. You can't argue with it. But clearly, the Republican establishment played Jasmine Crockett like a fiddle, knew that she would be an albatross to hang around vulnerable Democratic candidates for the rest of the cycle, asking them to answer for wild stuff that Jasmine Crockett says, like Latinos have a slave mentality. The Republicans ran a campaign in 2010 that was like fire Pelosi. And it actually matters in swing districts if you can start making candidates have to answer for, maybe it's Mom Johnny, although Trump maybe made that a little bit difficult, but Jasmine Crockett, make them answer for Nancy Pelosi, San Francisco elite liberal. Do you stand with Nancy Pelosi on this? Nancy Pelosi said that. Now, Crockett isn't exactly the same as a House Majority Leader or Speaker of that, right? Like, she's not on the same level as Nancy Pelosi, so who knows how helpful it will be. But here you have a high-profile Democrat who is now going to be all over the media for the next 11 months, saying stuff like Latinos have a slave mentality, then trying to clean it up in a way that is arguably more hilarious than the original mistake. So welcome to the race, Jasmine Crockett. Already you're going super well for you. But I thought this video my friend Ryan Grimm put out was very, very interesting too, because Crockett's rhetorical norm breaking has made people think of her as kind of squad adjacent. Think of her as a populist because she's kind of a rhetorical populist. She talks like some people will associate with populism, right? Because populism is about kind of challenging the system and the establishment. And she does that with the way that she's willing to say crazy stuff about, the right in particular. But that's true of Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling Nancy Pelosi at one point a bitch, right? Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene did that. She broke a lot of norms, rhetorically broke a lot of norms. She was a populist in substance as well. So is Jasmine Crockett? No. Let's take a look at Ryan's video.
I covered her first race in 2020. These crypto guys are going around the country. They were
Great
going
look for Ryan
after
here.
Anybody that they thought was going to regulate them, and they were supporting anybody they thought would be friendly. And multiple people on her campaign told me that she just said, "Look, what do I have to do? Just tell me." And they're like, "Well, if you sign this policy statement and post it on your website, they won't go after you, and they'll probably give you a lot of money." She's like, "Cool, do it." That same campaign, she also attacked her Democratic opponent for taking corporate PAC money, bragging that she had taken no corporate PAC money. Within months of that, she started taking corporate PAC money, and since then has taken hundreds of thousands of dollars of it. She went to visit Israel on a trip paid for by AIPAC. There she is, and has overwhelmingly just voted the party line when it comes to sending weapons to Israel. So when it comes to corporate power, crypto, Israel, she's a very standard Democrat.
Weed too, by the way, we should add. So all kinds of fun stuff happening with Jasmine Crockett that are going to make this primary, I think, really fascinating. There's probably an argument Talarico is more Bernie aligned, or can make the case that he's more Bernie aligned. I keep referring to Talarico. I mean to say Timu Ritchie Cunningham, his formal name, at least on this show. But he probably is. I'm going to give him the edge at this point. Name recognition is very powerful in low turnout races like a Democratic primary. But this is going to be there's going to be a lot of money spent in this race for sure. And Jasmine Crockett is going to be all over media. I mean, she's done a media tour just in the last 24 or so hours. So that's really going to be everywhere. And the story coming down to Republicans goading Jasmine Crockett into that race with polls. And then Jasmine Crockett coming out and saying, I didn't get into the race because of James Talarico. I got into the race because of Jasmine Crockett. Tie it up with a bow. I mean, it's perfect. Stick a fork in it. So it's just so perfect. It's so perfect. She is so transparently narcissistic that Republicans can play her like a fiddle to the detriment of Democrats. So enjoy. I hope the Democrats enjoy this primary bid. It is going to be a fun one to watch, though, because I think of that Talarico Crockett clash on rhetoric is going to be fascinating. If you've ever noticed those creepy ads that pop up on your phone and they seem to know exactly where you've been, what you've bought, even what you've been talking about, you've probably asked yourself, is my phone monitoring me? Yes, is the answer to that. Your instinct is correct. The truth is your smartphone is constantly collecting and leaking data without your knowledge or your consent. Every day it builds a detailed profile of your life, your information, your location, your habits, your interests, even the people you communicate with. That information is then funneled into an invisible marketplace where it's tracked, analyzed, and sold to the highest bidder, which, by the way, sometimes is the government itself. Keep that in mind. And it's not just annoying, it's invasive. It's happening all the time. But the Up Phone by Unplugged, I have it right here in my hand, you can see what it looks like, is different. It's designed to protect your privacy from the ground up. No hidden trackers, no data mining, just a secure, streamlined smartphone experience that puts you back in control. Whether you're texting, browsing, or using apps, the Up Phone ensures your personal information stays personal. It's the phone for people who are done being watched. And I have to say, when you start using this thing, it is so slick. So if you're ready to take back your digital privacy, visit unplugged.com/Emily and get $25 off a phone case with the purchase of a phone. Learn more and order your Up Phone today. And again, this is my Up Phone right here in my hands. And it's unplugged.com/Emily. That's where you can learn more. That's the link. You can order your Up Phone there. Unplugged.com/Emily, because your life should be yours and not theirs.